Hey, good evening. Happy Friday. It is the last Friday in February, and it is episode number 9. Um, Welcome, Rochelle. How you doing tonight?
It's cold, man. It's Friday. We should be sitting back with a beer, hanging out with friends, doing dumb, irresponsible stuff. But we're adults, so we're here, and we're bringing fun, interesting stuff to the masses, man. That's what I'm doing. What are you doing?
Exactly. I'm with you. I'm along for the ride. I'm following. I'm riding your coattails.
In other words, you're leaving it all up to me. But I need to get Megan in on this, right? Because she did the design for the Pocket Cows hoodie, which was pretty cool, and I missed out on getting mine.
Oh, they're still available if you want one. And
Well, we were
actually,
supposed to connect in Miami when I met with El Toro. I was supposed to connect with him in Miami and get mine, um,
yeah,
but we got back too late and didn't get a chance to connect.
I got you. I do actually have that promo, the original one. I think we're down to like under 50 hoodies left, but yeah, I do wear mine occasionally for streams, and it is a pretty cool hoodie. Megan did an awesome job of designing it.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. Which leads us into tonight's topic, which is fashion and the blockchain, right? Fashion and Web3.
Absolutely.
What do
Yeah,
they
that.
have to do with each other?
Yep. That's the topic on the forum. So yeah, so let's talk a little bit about that. I've seen a lot of different projects doing different things. Yeah, and we were talking about this backstage in the green room that about NFT NYC, and I know that some of the projects there were doing some pretty unique things with fashion, and it really wasn't so much uh, clothing or apparel as much as the one project that stood out to me was doing kind of like a jewelry based thing where they created a piece of jewelry, and within that jewelry it had NFC technology that allowed you to view your NFT, and the NFT was of the piece of jewelry that you bought, which was kind of cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah. And all you had to do is, like all NFC technology, is wave your phone or mobile device over it, and it will actually populate the NFT right on your screen. It was pretty neat.
Well, you see, I think what they have to do with each other is we're evolving, right? We're
Yep.
evolving in terms of tech, we're evolving in terms of, or hopefully as human beings, but we're evolving. And as a consequence, we're being marketed to so heavily and on such a regular basis. And this is where I said soulbound tokens, well, soulbound on the whole is going to really revolutionize the way we interact,
Hmm.
right? Um, you know, people spend so much time on social media, they don't get rewarded for it. um, they're posting things, they're not ambassadors for it, but they're promoting it, right? um, and as Web3 gets built out, as that infrastructure continue to get built out, and the ease of which we can transmit information and payment, I believe this is where it's really going to take it to the next level, from fashion to education to gaming, in so many ways at the tap of a button.
Yep.
Um, if I'm buying something on a regular basis that I normally use anyway, right? Like we were talking about your credit card, right? And how much you got
Hmm.
back.
Yep.
And I can either own as a fractionalized NFT part of that company. And so I'm heavily promoting it. I want you to buy it because when you buy it, I make money, right?
Right.
Um, I think affiliate marketing is going to go to the next level where it's consumers that are actually doing it. Even though consumers have always been the one doing it, I think it's going to be next level on it as we see play to earn, which is really not picking up as well as it should. But I think
Mhm.
will, as the technology and the infrastructure gets better, and so will the fashion. You take a look at some of these games, man. I would wear some of that stuff,
Yeah.
and you need a fashion designer to create these items that are used digitally, they're bought digitally, and they're estimating that digital fashion is in the millions,
Hmm.
so how do we break into that? How do we tap into our potential that you can put together a really great looking outfit. You don't have any fashion experience in terms of education, but you have an eye for things that people like. How can you take that skill and make it payable?
Yeah, that is a great thought. And I think, there's lots of platforms out there for people who are creative to put their designs and things out to the public. But it's done with regular fiat currency, right? Just the traditional forms of payment. I think if there were a Web3 company that had a platform like Shopify, or that could create a marketplace that any user can jump on and utilize to sell their goods, but instead of using standard traditional fiat, also offer crypto, whether it's, blue chip coins or, native tokens, whatever it may be, but offering, crypto as the means of payment. Now with, native tokens for specific projects, it gets a little gray because it gets into that whole SEC and becoming a security, because you're using the token to pay for goods, which makes it some kind of a value. Where if you're using a blue chip like, Ethereum or BNB or, Matic, something like that, it's a little different because that's their problem then if you're using it to pay for it, right? Because they've already established that those grounds, right? Did I lose you or?
No, 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 no. I just they were doing construction next door, and it's kind of loud. It's late. Should they be stopping? Anyway,
Shout out to Yomi. Yomi's in the
oh,
house.
Yomi's here. Okay.
Uh, Peace and greetings.
I think primarily for me, when I take a look at it and where it's gonna go, I am not a fashion guru. I'm not a fashion type person. I barely pay attention to color coordination when I dress. I like simple, I like easy, and I like comfortable, right?
Yep.
So Walmart pajamas is my go-to on a regular basis. I mean, after working corporate America for so long, where every day you had to get dressed up, dry cleaning bill and all that other stuff. I love the fact that I can be comfortable working from home. However, um, I could still take a look at my oldest daughter, and she could grab anything out of her closet and make it look like she's stepping off the freaking cover of Vogue. She didn't get it from me. Definitely didn't get it from me. She got it from her grandma. She definitely did not get that sense of style from me. But it's amazing because our kids, at the end of the day, our kids are the ones that are interacting with this technology.
Yep.
Right? They should be the one teaching us. We're
Wow.
learning on our own, but they technically should be the one teaching us because they're interacting with it on a regular basis. And when they go into these games, like oh my gosh, what was it? It was this little game that Hope Marie, when she was younger, absolute move to movie, something like that, where she was going crazy. Mom, I need to change her clothes. I need to change her
Mhm.
clothes. And these little digital items were 99 cents.
Yep.
Right? So when we talk about fashion and we talk about the blockchain, it's been here.
Yep.
It just wasn't called that, but it's been here, right?
Mhm.
It's an exchange. You buy the native token in order to purchase the in-game digital item, right?
Yep.
And then you own it, and you have the option to trade it, or trade up or whatever, right? And it's a multi-million dollar industry,
Yep.
multi-million dollar industry. You have to rethink the way we think of fashion. Is it going to be the same kind of education required when we're talking about gaming fashion or virtual fashion versus what we'll actually wear in real life? I don't know, but
Mm.
I don't think any of the typical standards apply anymore.
Yeah. And, I think that kind of all migrates and evolves with the metaverse. That was a big thing when, a few months back when everyone was talking about a metaverse. You heard all these projects saying that they were going to create their own, or they were going to, partner with a metaverse or whatever it was. And, the whole idea there is that, some of them, the NFTs would actually, depending on what it was, if it was a 3D rendered item that could be a wearable item. And I can't remember what the name of the project is, but they actually sold merchandise in the metaverse. They had this platform that you could go in and buy, just like Heroes merch, if you would. And, whatever you bought in there, not only did you get the NFT, but you also got the actual piece of merchandise. If that was, something that was partnered with them, which was kind of cool, because then you have a couple different, use cases for that. Not only do you get the physical piece of merchandise, but you actually, within the metaverse, can put that piece of merchandise on your avatar. So that was kind of neat.
So
You know,
I'll let you in on a little secret. I mean, we're all adults here, right? Uh,
mhm.
the world can burn down. It can burn down, like literally the apocalypse tomorrow, and sex will still sell. People will be trading food for sex, right? It's just a fact. I mean, I'm not making these numbers up, right? Um, you know, it's so. Last year I spent $450 on an avatar, and it's a shame the project didn't move forward, or at least I haven't checked in. I don't know if it moved forward or not. I haven't checked in with it recently, but it was called Nude City, Node City. I think it's Node City. I can't remember the name of it. Anyway,
Mhm.
the whole premise was you had drugs, you had alcohol, you had women, you had um, kind of like really adult fun stuff. And
Mhm.
now I am. You heard me describe my fashion sense, right? Like I'm not going into the metaverse to be me.
Right.
I'm me every day, right? I want to go into the metaverse and be something that's fun that I typically wouldn't do. Kind of like Halloween dressing up, right?
Yep.
It's don't laugh at me, people. Don't laugh. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it. Tell people what I wanted to look like. They won't take me seriously after. But
Oh, come on. Go ahead, share.
share. Okay, so I
Share.
I wanted I wanted I wanted the artist to create a black leather suit with a whip, a bag full of cryptocurrency, and 6-inch stilettos. That was my outfit going in to the metaverse, right? Pimp City or Nude City, whatever it was called. Um, because that was gonna be fun. That's so far from my personality, to be honest. That was
Mhm.
gonna be fun for me, right? It's the same premise. That fashion, somebody had to design it,
Yep.
right? Somebody have to design it. Somebody have to create, um, because remember they have to. So one of the things about the metaverse that I learned early on when they're building it out, it's really difficult to custom.
Mhm.
It's very difficult to custom. One of the things he was talking about is everything had to be like the same standard,
Mhm.
like the women's all of you could be different color, you could different hair, but the size of the person had to be standard. Like they couldn't custom it. Like it's a lot of work
Right.
to do it that way. And so when you think about digital fashion, you have to think about scaling it, right? Because when they create that one item and they draft it up, let's say a jacket,
Mm.
that jacket has to be able to go from child to adult, from male to female, as they swap it out in the store. So it's so complicated. And I got a chance to look behind the scenes with the guy that was building the metaverse for Vicewell at the time. And this was like in March, and he showed me his books. He'd already earned over $2 million for the year. And this was in March, earned over $2 million for the year in digital fashion. I'm talking about those little 99 cents jacket stuff, those pants stuff, over $2 million. And he said he's estimated to gross well over 200 million within the next 5 years.
Wow.
Because, yeah, and he's been in business since
Hmm.
2009. And he said it's just, it keeps going up. The people, they get to go in, they design the clothing the way they wanted, the color, the style, they can pick and match and put these things together. And so
Hmm.
you got to ask yourself, who's earning that money? Who's creating these things? Why are we not creating those things, Scott?
Yep.
Why is Megan not creating those things? She created the pocket cow hoodies. Megan, we need money. Japan is far away.
Yeah.
Why are
We
you
do need
not why are you not over there creating stuff?
Hey, I'm working for Toro.
money. She's working, she says. Um, yeah, and it's definitely not something new. The mobile gaming market is just massive. And really, it is exactly what you're saying. Um, what's that? I can't think of the name. It's Friday. I'm beat from the week, but there's so many games out there that your avatar that you have within the game, they have skins that you can buy for that avatar,
Yep.
and kids will hit their parents up
Oh my
repeatedly
God. iTunes
for
cards. Oh,
for a couple bucks to buy a new skin for their avatar so that they can be unique within the game, even though that skin is available to everybody who's playing that game, right? um, and I mean, that's just, I guess it all boils down to coming up with a game that is, interactive, entertaining, that just has that draw. And then once you have that, creating the digital assets within the game that, people would want to spend money on. Because, if the game's not fun to begin with, or if it is a traditional, and I'm saying this very loosely, and I'm not knocking anybody, but the Web3 games that we see that are out there now, a good majority of them are kind of what we've seen on mobile games from 5 years ago, right? Or 10
yep,
years ago.
yep,
It's not anything new. It's not anything that's any more engaging. Add the words, uh, play to earn, but, you know, really, unless you're the first person in there playing the game, you're not really earning a whole heck of a lot. You might be earning, a couple cents a day, which if the game is interactive and fun to play, that kind of doesn't matter that it's only a couple cents a day, because if it's interactive and engaging and you just are going to do it anyway, well, now you're earning something as you're doing it. But if it's something that you're trying to do as a means of a second income or an additional income or passive income, I guess it wouldn't be passive because you're actually working to play the game. But it really, if it's something that you played, years ago, I mean, what's engaging about it, right? They're just regurgitating something that was already done. Does that make sense?
it does. But here's my take on that though. Like with it, I haven't seen a model as of yet, as of yet, that really incentivize someone to spend that amount of time as a play to earn. I'll play because I like it. I'll
Mm-hmm.
play because it's fun. Um, but I genuinely have not seen one that is worth it as a play to earn model, because you have to play for so long before you earn anything, right? So I haven't seen anything that you know will make it be worth my while with that. But but in taking a look at the fashion thing my friend was working on, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense because it's something I was going to utilize anyway, right? Um, and it's just me taking a picture and posting it on my socials.
Yep. Yep.
So
And
I see that as having a tremendous amount of potential.
right. Yeah, I guess as far as the gaming goes, there's an aspect of fashion that comes with that. But I think really what we need to see is we need to see something different than what's out there, and we haven't seen that yet. And there is the potential. It's just I don't believe any of the Web3 projects that are currently out there now have the funds to create something like that. Because I mean, I have fantastic ideas of, how to create a, very engaging and fun game. However, the more that you incorporate within that game, the more expensive it gets to produce.
Yep.
So, it's a matter of how much money do you have to spend on the production of this game and how much time do you have to do it? Because if it's a lot and a short amount of time, well, you better have, 6, 7 figures to dump into this game. However, if you're looking to build something that is expandable, you could probably start and keep that cost down as a developer and put something out there that is engaging, that is, unique, and do updates every 6 months or every, so often that adds more features to the game to get to where you want to be. So, I mean, there's a couple different aspects that you can look at. And I think that the idea of in-game purchases being, things like skins for your avatar or being, I mean, hell, you could look at the game The Sims. I mean, that could be a Web3 game that is profitable for a project, if you think about it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, you can go in there, you can make it free to play. You go in and you're just playing along. But if you want to get ahead a little bit, well, you have to buy the in-game token or in-game currency, which could be a Web3 token, a crypto token. And that token allows you to gain assets like different types of, apparel to wear, or, different features within your home if you're building, a home. And it's been years since I played The Sims, but, you get my point. You could buy, a Lamborghini within the game, right? Using the native token of whatever project created that. And because it is a token in the game that you're using cash to pay for, which would mean that they would need to create a wallet for you automatically that holds those tokens. And then once that wallet is created, that allows you to add cash like you can on any traditional app. But when you're buying that in-game currency, it is going against the liquidity of the token within the project. So, I mean, there is a way to do it, and doing it that way, you are actually selling, in-game products, just like, you would if you're playing, I don't know, Candy Crush. I don't know, is there in-game purchases in Candy Crush?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, so just like, if you're playing any mobile game, you take your regular currency to buy the in-game currency, which would be, in this case, a cryptocurrency. And that allows you to buy things like NFTs within the game platform. There, you can get around the whole SEC thing because it is no different than if you launch just a standard game where you have in-game purchases, because that's what that would be. It would be an in-game purchase to buy the crypto that allows you to then buy in-game assets, which would be NFTs. I mean, it's simple. It's just nobody's doing it, right?
I don't think it's so much as nobody's doing it. Like, where's the need?
But where's the need to play any mobile game? There isn't. It's the need is to kill time, right? And finding that game that is addicting and, that constantly keeps you coming back to it. That is
the need part of what we do when we create it, right? Like you have to build it. You build it and they'll come. Kind of
right.
Philosophy.
Pretty much. I mean, but you have to make sure you're building something that people are going to like and want to, play and then share, tell their friends about, right? But I mean, that's one aspect of fashion in Web3. Another is actual physical merchandise. We were talking about this a little bit ago, where, you were saying that you could buy a legitimate piece of apparel made by a custom designer, and that apparel is, tagged with an NFC chip that verifies its legitimacy, but also, verifies it on the blockchain.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's another great aspect, is getting a way to avoid the fraudulent pieces of merchandise that are out there, the knockoff Coach purses and, whatever other apparel that you may want, that is, the Jordans, right? That, you're paying $20 for and they're getting shipped from China.
Sure.
We've all seen them, uh,
Right.
they're there, it's out there. This would guarantee that, pair of Jordans are legitimate because they have an encryption in them using, one form of technology or another, that it binds them to the blockchain, which can do that through an NFT, can do that through, would definitely do it through an NFT. That would be the way to do it.
Lots of options with it. That's the whole key, right? Give me options.
Yep.
I like it when I have options.
That's right. Yeah. There was a project that I had seen and talked to last year at NFT NYC, and they were a collectible company. So they didn't really have the collectibles. What you did was you sent them your collectible. So let's say, this pen, is a limited edition, pen used by, I don't know, give me a celebrity, right? And and you have it, authenticated that it is legitimately that. So this pen I could send to that company. They would actually turn it into an NFT, and then they would auction it for you. They collect a percentage of the fees or the total amount it sells for. And when you buy it, not only do you get the NFT, but you get the pen with the papers of authenticity sent to you, and the person that sent the item to them to auction gets the proceeds. I mean, that's another way that fashion can be used and verified that, this pen is legitimately what it's supposed to be.
I like that.
Yep.
I like that idea a whole lot, actually.
And that's out there. That's available. But yeah.
A whole
Anyway.
lot. Got lots of options. It's nothing to, it's, how else to put it?
Oh, and by the way, when you were talking about your design for your avatar, all I could think of and picture was Catwoman.
Yes, very much along those lines, right?
So you want to be Catwoman?
Well, I do.
With a bag full of crypto.
Exactly. With a bag full of crypto, right? Different.
Nothing wrong with that. Catwoman's a very interesting character, and I can't knock it. You're right. Sex sells.
Big time.
Yep.
Look at some of those tokens, and I'm not going to mention the names, but I did okay with that. I don't know what you got into. I got into it. Got in and got out. Just saying.
Yep.
I'm just saying. Up here. Anyway, so then that comes right back to, okay, so I got a little talent. I could create some stuff. I could, make stuff look good. Where do I start? How do I start? There's so many companies that are building games on the blockchain. Like, oh my God, I can't believe I can't remember it. What's his name? We talk to him on Monday nights when we do the show, when we do the Twitter space.
Dragon Scales?
Which one?
Dragon
no, not
Scales?
Dragon Scales. No, I know he's doing one. Oh, by the way, he sent me a DM and told me that they're coming out with a mini game and asked, which you probably should. You should send him a DM and ask if we wanted to get some free advertising by having our logo on the game.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. DM him. And so that brings up the point, right? Like there's so many great projects that are building, that are creating these fantastic games, a little bit of something for everyone, right? As we've seen, nostalgia is booming. People are really getting into like the pocket cows games, right?
Yep.
They're getting into the nostalgia field because that's really the genre that has the discretionary income, um, to spend money on gaming. And what are those arcade, the pinball machines? What are those called again? Well, I guess pinball
Pinball
machines.
machines?
They I mean, have you looked on eBay at the price of one of these?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I haven't, but I know they were expensive years ago. I've looked at one.
yeah,
Yeah.
nostalgia is booming. Like, what was the first game? What was the first game you remember playing, whether mobile or on a console? What was the first game you
Mobile.
remember playing?
Mobile didn't exist when I first started playing games. uh, the first game I think I played was probably Pong,
Pong. I
and
don't know.
now I'm dating myself.
Wow, I don't remember Pong.
Pong was Atari, and it was the two paddles, and the ball went back and forth, and you had to keep.
Ping pong. It's called
Yeah,
ping pong, bro. Ping pong.
no, I'm telling you, it was called Pong.
No, it's called ping pong. Just because they dropped it to try to make it seem like it's something new, that's on them. But it's called ping pong, bro.
Well, yeah.
Okay, that was the first game. What was the first one? I'm gonna date myself here.
Oh
The
dear.
snake. The
I,
snake.
I,
The snake. And to this day I still love it. The
this,
snake game.
oh, what the heck is that?
Um oh my goodness. The snake. That's what it was
Yeah, what
called.
was that game? The snake thing that they had for mobile, honey. You remember what that was called?
Why are you asking me?
I'm asking you because you might know.
Oh, that's just rude.
Here, let's see. Present, share screen.
Do you hear me chomping?
I do not.
Okay, good. I had made some curry shrimp and rice.
That is the game right there.
Snake.
Well, no, that Pong is what I was referring to, but I have to look up to see what the snake game is.
Oh my god. Yeah, they're bad for calling it pong. It's ping pong. The game is ping pong. They try to trick me into thinking it's something new.
Well, it's really not new. I mean, it came out in 1972, so.
Oh my god. Can you imagine a kid totally bored come across our YouTube channel and says, "Are they reviewing a game from 1970?" Mom, how many decades ago was 1972? Was that like in the dinosaur era? Oh,
Mobile snake game. I know what you're talking about. I've seen this. It was just called Snake or Retro Snake or here, what's the snake game called? Oh, that ain't it. Yeah, I think it's just called Snake.
have you invested, whether temporarily or long term hold, or have you seen any gaming project, and don't mention the name, um, gaming or metaverse project that you have your eye on and thinking about getting in?
Um, so there's a lot of them. There's a lot of game projects that I have my eye on. The one that kind of stands out to me is one that actually isn't a gaming project on their own. What they do is they actually take NFTs and turn them into uh, metaverse avatars. So I like that project a lot because when that comes,
They take any ERC 721 or 1155.
yep,
And make it a metaverse ready asset.
yep.
Is that metaware?
No, that's Metatope. After you told me not to drop a name.
Oh, that. Yeah, I think I
But it's okay because we had them on live and in person on Twitter, and their project is like, I mean, it is on point. They actually do have one of the founding developers for Atari on their team.
oh wow. Yeah, I gotta meet them. I gotta interview them.
Yeah, they're really legit. They were at NFT NYC's where I met them last year, and we had them on one of our Twitter Spaces, our live and in persons, and interviewed them. And they dropped a lot of little bombshells there that it's like, yeah,
Okay, bring them back, and then
bring them
invite
back.
me. Bring them
Yeah,
back.
I what I'll do is we'll do it on YouTube. We'll bring them back and have
They
it
would
on.
have been perfect to have on tonight. Like like I by next week we should have. Um, I want to have like a fashion person actually showing some designs. I've got one or two people that I DM where they're showing how they're creating it, and we're going to talk money, right? Because that's what it is.
Mhm.
Talk money. Like, how do you learn how to do this stuff? Like, how smart do you need to be? Um, because I'm about to give up on crypto for real. It's a crypto winter. I'm about to give up on crypto and everything else, and just dive right in and go design some stuff. I mean, have you seen some of these fashions? Even my no fashion sense can beat some of these fashions.
Oh yeah,
For real, for real.
absolutely. I would not advise giving up on crypto. I mean, this is the time to accumulate, in my opinion.
Nobody wants
It's
to buy my kidneys.
no one's about your kidneys.
Bitcoin is at 23K. I
Yep.
don't even know what Ethereum is at.
I think
Algo,
1600.
all my favorites are like really, really low, and nobody wants to buy my kidneys, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going really cheap, kind of beat up, little used, little dated.
I,
DM me, negotiable.
there you go. Yeah, and I will say that things have been kind of coming up. I've been like watching. We had talked off screen last week about a couple of projects that you know what are we buying during this time, that type of thing. And I've been kind of waiting because they were kind of going up a little bit,
Mhm.
and I missed my entry point, and I'm like waiting for them to to consolidate, and they haven't. So for the last week, they've been gradually increasing. Not a lot, but I think they're going to consolidate again here shortly, and I'll jump in then. But yeah, I mean, this is the time I would
Well,
recommend anybody to accumulate.
absolutely not financial advice. Not financial advice.
No, that
Uh,
it's just what I'm doing.
yeah, I will say that one of the and I've been with them from day one, and man, they've had some challenges, but
Mhm.
they stuck to it, man, and they've really proven that they're willing to do the work. So number one, I'm a fan of the team. Um, and the things that they're looking to do are things that make sense, that kind of appeal to me, right? I remember the cost of getting medical records. Like I kid you not, Scott. The cost of medical records was something like $1 a page or
Wow.
something like that. And when we're talking about this is my accident, over 2 years of medicals going back and forth. Um, the bill alone that was paid to the lawyer for the medical records was in the thousands, right? Being able to have access to your medical records via the blockchain is something I'm really excited about,
Hmm.
right? And these are not sexy things people think about, but it's stuff that you can utilize in real life, right? Documentation on the blockchain where you don't ever have to worry about losing it. To me, that kind of stuff makes sense, right?
Hmm.
Um, and so that's the kind of stuff that they've been looking at. The first time I ever had a conversation about extended reality, do you know what that is?
No, please share.
Uh, so, to the best of my non-gamer brain can understand, is that a device is in the room, and because it's a device that's giving the holographic experience, right? Um,
Hmm.
because you're not wearing it, so it's not the VR goggles. It's nowhere on your body. It's just this little device in this room that makes it different than what the room is supposed to be, and that's what they call it, extended reality. That's the best way I can explain it, right? But that there are gamers that are developing that as an active basis, and Red Light was the first that I heard of it, and they're heavily into gaming, um, and that's why I started to take a look at some of these things like the digital assets. We always was aware as parents that gaming is expensive, right? I remember getting the subscription for my son because it just got ridiculous at $60 a game. So I just got him the subscription, and he was really happy with that, which was a great deal for me. I loved it. $8 a month, and he got 2 new games every month, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we look at the cost, and it's not only kids. We can't say it's kids that are playing these things, Scott.
Oh, no, not at all.
It's a $1 billion industry.
Yep.
So when you're thinking about, and again, not financial advice, but when you're thinking about the things that you do on a regular basis, when you're thinking about entertainment, when you're thinking about what always sells, right? And this is how I look at it. Would I prefer to buy a luxury handbag or toilet paper? I buy the toilet paper every single time because people would buy toilet paper, right? No matter what, people would buy toilet paper. And that's how I look at it. Entertainment, people are going to spend money on entertainment. So is it worth for me chalking in 5% of my investment strategy in there to see how that develops, especially when they're talking about having it be not this virtual reality where you're wearing this stuff, but this extended reality where it's part of your environment,
Yep.
right? And then you look at the therapeutic aspects of it, all the things that it could be used for, and people are actively developing this. It's exciting, and they're tying it to the blockchain. So yeah.
And what you just said there, is it worth it for me to invest 5%? I'm not sure if we talked about it on here or if it was one of our Twitter spaces or what, but that's something that I always looked at when I invested, right? I always looked at, is this a company that I find value in as an individual, that if I were just abundantly wealthy and could outright buy it, right? Would I buy it? Is it a company I'd want to own? And that is kind of how I, base my purchases for investments, for especially the stock market, is I look at things that I personally find value in, and I could see myself, if I were independently wealthy and had unlimited means, could outright buy it. I would say, yeah, you know what? And I do. I own AMD. They do graphic processors and chips, and that's the processor you find in every Xbox is an AMD graphic processor. Well, the reason I bought that was because years ago, I built a gaming computer for my son, his first one. And after doing all the research, it was either NVIDIA or AMD for your graphics processor. And at the time, it was like they both do about the same thing, but the AMD's cheaper. And that's what we put in there. And I'm like, after we got it all together and, he had played it, I'm like, this is great. So I started looking at their stock and started buying in. And that was part of it. It was a product that I liked. I believed in it. I saw a lot of value in it, and I felt like they were undervalued. And those are the things I look at when I make investments. Again, when you say look at fashion, is it worth putting 5% in? Absolutely. If it's something that you're passionate about, you believe in, you feel like it's something that you would outright own, why wouldn't you?
I think for me, for fashion particularly, what are these? They literally look like space boots. I swear to God, they look like these. They're these platform shoes that my daughter's just crazy over. They're like $300. They're really expensive, but they really look like snow boots. They look like snow boots. How is that fashion? But that's it, right? That's fashionable. It's fashionable to wear these snow boots on your feet in the middle of summer and think you're cute. But hey, I'm not going to knock it. It is what it is.
But you saw Back to the Future, the second one, right, where they go to the future to, I think it was 2008. And if you paid attention, some of the women in there were wearing mini skirts with these big, bulky, clunky boots. So
That's what they seem to like.
yeah. And that technology that you were talking about, I mean, I'm totally geeking out because the the geek in me is saying that is the holodeck from Star Trek, right? The Where you go into this room and it simulates being somewhere else. That extended, yeah,
Absolutely, absolutely, and I think that's the whole idea.
yeah,
I think that's the whole idea, and that's what I was saying from the very beginning. You when you think of all these things that people are doing and developing and how it interacts with you in our world as it is now, you also have to consider um, how do you invest? How do you get in? How do you make your mark? How do you get a piece of it? Um, for the longest time, the beam me up, Scotty, was laughed. It was a joke, right? The little handheld thing that they talk into. Well, that's our cell phones now,
yeah.
right?
And
Um,
the tablets,
yep,
right?
yep, yep. Big
I mean, there's a whole conspiracy theory about Star Trek, and you know, if you look at episodes well before their time, they were using technology that actually came to reality. So, what's the next thing, right? Is it going to be that holodeck? Is it going to be, you know, uh, I don't know, who knows what, cell phones now, instead of being actual cell phones, they're little patches that go in your chest that you just tap and you can talk to anybody you want, right?
Well, they already have people that are actively doing that. I think somebody said. I don't know. I can't. I can't prove it, so I can't say it's real. But they're saying that they already have people that are using the scan thingy to go into work.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's embedded.
Oh yeah, they're actually injecting it into their body.
Yeah. So
I've seen,
they're already doing that for security. So why not for the next step, right?
right? Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I have an issue with injecting things into my body. That's a
I think
personal
we
thing.
all do. I think we all do.
But yeah, no. I mean, I think the possibilities for fashion in general, and fashion can be a lot of things. It can be, the design of a website, Web3 website. It can be the design of a piece of merch, like Megan has done. It can be the design of in-game assets or a game in general. It can be the design of the coding behind a token that allows it to do things. That is all not only innovative, but it can be considered fashion, right?
Yeah.
Because when you look at the different types of tokens that have come and gone over the years, where there was like these crazes of meme tokens, and then different types of utilities and how they get mass adopted and utilized by several projects that follow. Those are all essentially forms of fashion that are trending.
Yep. 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 Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep. Yomi's not injecting anything into herself either. So, but yeah, I mean, I think the possibilities are very, very endless. And we say this a lot, that we're very early. Crypto and this new Web3 tech is so new that who knows where we're going to go, where it's going to come, what's going to happen in the next 5 years, and what's going to be mass adopted, what's not, how far it's going to push us as a society, technologically. I mean, it could be massive.
And it's exciting. I'll be honest. A big part of it is exciting to see these things develop. I mean, did you think that we were going to have cell phones? Um, did you think that things were going to develop that way? It's exciting to watch. It's exciting to see things build. I think, in my opinion.
listen, I never wanted a cell phone, right? I was like, yeah, you know what? I got a phone at home. You know, I don't like talking on that. I don't like talking on the phone at work. So last thing I want to do is carry a phone with me, right? And then I broke down. I finally got one just because, you know, kind of, I don't know why, but and then I fought the whole smartphone thing. It was like, you know, I have this phone. I don't like using it. I barely use it. You know, why do I need a phone that does more stuff that I'm not going to use? And I kind of fought that too. And I actually still have my first iPhone, which is the first generation. It was given to me by friends, and because they upgraded, and they're like, "Here, just take it. You know, you don't have to buy it. Try it out, see what you think," and it's all downhill from there. You know, now I can't get around without it. I don't think any of us can.
Fact.
Yep.
Everything is logged in on my phone.
Yep. So, you know, and that again comes back to where we started with, you know, that in-game fashion, you know, those in-game assets, and you know how that is so innovative as far as the mobile market goes. When are we going to see that for Web3, where it is put into something that is just that embraces, or not embraces, but that actually, you know, attracts people, that has all the key elements that you want in a game, that keeps you glued to it. You know, when are we going to see that, and the utilization of the fashion to make that work, right? The design to make that work. You know, that's the exciting part, because that's coming, and the project that does it is going to be genius, because they have put out there that product that is really no different than, you know, a mobile game that you can buy off the, or even download off the Android, I guess it's Google Play or the Apple Store, right? Where you just log on, you start playing, and it kind of grabs you and draws you in, because it is engaging. And
Yeah,
then
that's the key. It's got to be engaging,
mhm,
and it's got to be something that the people want. And that's, you're right. That's where it's heading. Yep, yeah, absolutely right.
yep. And yeah, like I said, the project that has that and comes out with that, and trust me, I've been looking at, you know, how to develop something like that, and it's not easy. It's not something that is going to be done by, well, I'm not going to say it's not going to be something that's done by uh, most of these projects, because you never know, right? I think if we get a major game studio that shows interest in Web3 and sees the value in creating in Web3, I think you will find a $1 billion project. And it's just a matter of them saying, yes, we're going to take this game that has been so successful for us, has made us millions of dollars in just mobile downloads and mobile in-game purchases, and we are going to take that and launch our own crypto project and go on Web3 and do the same thing. But instead of it being, you know, you're buying whatever, you know, cash or gold coins or whatever within the game, so you can continue to advance in the game, you're going to be buying their native token. And that's what's going to allow you to buy the assets within the game to advance, right? That is the company. And it has to be somebody that has the money to build it, because those mobile games that are that engaging, they are multi-million-dollar production games.
Facts.
Yep.
Very true. Very true. All of it coming right down to exciting stuff going on, exciting stuff happening. It's a great time to be alive, great time to be engaged, great time to build, great time to generate. and think differently, right? This is an opportunity that not many have, I think, in my opinion. Um, a lot of it is still so far behind, but there are a lot of really forward thinkers in the space. There really are.
Yep.
Dragon scales and some of these guys, what they're building, what they're creating. I'm just gonna sit back and watch it and enjoy the ride, man, and
Yeah,
figure out how I can design stuff that people want to buy.
absolutely. And that's it, because really that's when you say, you're going to buy into a game project, right? What you're buying is you're buying the belief that they're building something that's going to be successful.
Hmm.
And what reassurance do you have that a play to earn game is going to be successful, especially if they're marketing it as a play to earn game, right?
Right.
So a play to earn game historically has been you have to play for hours, and unless you got in early, you really don't make a whole heck of a lot for playing the game.
Facts.
The games that are out there are really regurgitated games from 5 to 10 years ago. So, they're not anything new or not anything, in that engaging. Yeah, they're fun to play, but is it something that you're going to go back to and play for 3, 4 hours a day, every day? Probably not, you know. Um, However, if you get somebody that builds something that is, you know, just well thought out, that has multiple facets, that it's not just the main task of the game, but has multiple side things to do within the game
Mm.
that helps you progress within the game, and then has the in-game purchases as well, and is set up that you can do it on a mobile uh, device, that instead of, I mean, trust me, I've gone through all of this and tried to figure this out, and it is possible. It's just having the funds to be able to do it, and it's not going to be done by a small project. Um, it just because the server space alone that you're going to need to run it, and to
Mm.
have everybody be able to interact, because what mobile games are more fun? Are they the ones that are just you play by yourself, or are they the ones that you interact with other people?
Where you interact, right? Where you get to
Right.
kick ass and
Which
then
means, yep. So that means that you have to have a server that has the capacity to handle the volume that you would need to market a game on a social platform
mm,
like Twitter or Facebook, where you're going to have millions of people playing this game. Which, if you have millions of people, that means you also are going to have probably 6 digit or higher in game purchases on a
wow,
regular basis.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. And for that organization that's going to build it, to dump the money that they need to into it to make it happen, that is the type of game project that's going to be a profit, no
Mm.
matter what. Because that the way it's set up, it's not really a play to earn. It is a play for fun with in-game purchases, where the in-game purchases, you have to buy the currency of the game, and that currency is your crypto token. And then with that you can buy in-game assets. So it's no different than buying and whatever that is for, and I keep referring to Candy Crush, but I was playing, what is it, South Park Phone Destroyer, in that you can buy, cash within the game with real money to buy assets within the game, right? So that cash, if you're a Web3 project, can be crypto, and then the assets can be NFTs. And again, I mean, we kind of, I kind of went off rail. I know I'm.
No, you didn't go off rail. You did, but all of it comes right back to what we were talking about, right? There's
Yep.
so much potential. It's not, typically people tend to think of investment as, real estate and stocks and bonds, and not really think about the entertainment factors we saw with AMC. Now, here's the thing with AMC. Um, I thought that was garbage myself personally. We're not really going to talk about that, but entertainment, I think, has a tremendous amount of potential to earn you quite a bit of money. Not financial advice, but it's not the old coin I put in 20 and made 20 million. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It's stable. It's over time. It's watching them as they progress, as they build, and I like that. I will tell you that is the most exciting part for me. Um, being a part of crypto this early is watching them build. I'll be
Yep.
honest, is watching them build.
Yeah. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, we are building and we are doing it at a slower pace during this time because it's a slower time in the market. If we were in the middle of a bull run and, things were booming and funds were flowing, it'd be a different story. And you're seeing that a lot with a lot of projects where they are growing, they're continuing to build and develop and whatnot. It's just right now happening at the pace of a normal business.
Yeah,
It
that
is
expectation of NFTs selling out immediately. That I get mad when I hear that because people fail to realize that really is just the exception, and it's really all about hype. And you go back and look, and you want to know where these projects are that sold out. What are they doing? Well, here's the thing: if you are not prepared for success, you're doing yourself and your consumers a disservice, right? Because
Yep.
now all of a sudden, um, there are people you're going to need to hire. There are things that you need to do, and you have no clue how to get there because you didn't take your time. You're going
Right.
from 1 to 10.
Yep.
And so the build is really the exciting part because you get to see things as they roll out. Some projects allow you to have an opinion, and so you can express and help build. I mean, that's exciting stuff, man.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Rochelle, that was a quick hour that we just were on.
It was. It was. We're gonna have to keep back on this topic again, man. I'm telling you.
Well,
Um,
I think we can, and I think what we need to do is we need to start bringing on more guests. Um, you know,
Nobody wants to listen to us talk all the time.
well, I mean, we can talk and we can give our opinions. Last week we had Matthew on, who was a financial advisor, and him and I talked like we talked. But the difference with him and I talking was he was giving legitimate financial advice and could verify he was giving legitimate financial advice, right? So it'd be cool to have, like a gaming project on,
Yeah,
or,
I think the Hidden Studios. That's what it was. Hidden Studios. Uh,
okay.
yeah, he's really amazing. His game got picked up, and he builds in his Discord. So maybe we get to show
Yeah,
parts of.
he's out of Philly, right?
Yeah, and he's shows up in our Twitter space. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna DM him, see what
Yep.
he's doing, and have him. Oh man, yeah, that'll be exciting. And
No,
he's
that would
fun
be
too.
nice. Yeah, so I think what we should do is we can expand on this a lot, and we can expand on it in a number of ways. And I have a few people that I was thinking about reaching out to joining us in our conversations that are professionals in their field, and they are integrating, real world things into Web3. And I just haven't reached out to them just quite yet. I figure we get to episode 10, and then we'd start bringing you on, to guess because I wanted to make sure we were moving along.
And consistent.
Yeah, in the right order, right? Because once we start kind of going to far left field and then far right field, and then 200 feet straight up, I mean, it gets a little confusing. And up until this point, we've kind of been going in the same direction and moving that. If someone started watching the very first episode and watched them all the way through to tonight's episode, they would be like, yeah, I get it. I'm following along. It makes sense. Rather than throw in a hard, curveball, and then all of a sudden they're like, I'm lost.
No, and that's exactly what we wanted to do with the conference as well, right? Take you on
Yep.
this journey. Let's do this journey together. And so now we talked about being mentally prepared. We talked about some of the tools that you can utilize and have ready. And then we had a financial advisor talk about this is how you can get started. And so let's take a look at the things you can be involved in. And this is where the entertainment factor and all the other stuff comes in. So I'm pretty stoked about this part.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that's probably what we should do. We can get someone on maybe next week to talk a little bit more about what we talked about tonight, and maybe go down one of those avenues that we discussed, whether it's gaming or, just fashion apparel or, who knows what, right? But can expand on this and how, Web3 and fashion can go together and coincide and kind of propel it moving forward, right? What to expect. So, yeah, I think that'd be great. And then, like I said, I was kind of waiting for episode 10 to, have kind of that nice build up. And then I was going to start reaching out to people I know that are actual real world professionals that are also in Web3, and having them come on and join.
Nice.
Yep. So anything we want to add here before we call it a night?
No, I think we are good.
All right. Any closing statements? You can say no.
Life. Yeah, just enjoy life, man. Yep. Shit happens, man. Just enjoy life.
Yep, absolutely. And with that, I mean, we are here every Friday night. We're here to talk about finance in general, mindset of that. Our chat is always open and welcome for anybody that wants to pop in and ask a question, whether it's on topic or off topic, as long as it's not, derailing the subject too much. I'm sure we'd be more than happy to answer that for anybody. But, this is a tough time right now. We're seeing a lot of things going on in the real world that, are affecting us. It's affecting us financially, mentally, just on multiple different levels. And what our goal is to kind of help you guys overcome that. Give you a break, give you something else to think about, maybe give you the right mindset to get yourself back on a better track. But yeah, I mean, that's why we're here. Yeah, this is all building up to our conference that we have coming up over the summer. And that is, Future of Finance, which is going to be the title, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right, Rochelle?
Yes, sir.
So, the whole idea of that is future of finance. Break it down. I mean, it is the future of your finance. That's kind of what we want to educate people on. And that's everything from just getting started to traditional means to moving into Web3 and what that means. And
yeah.
This is all leading up to that. And this is kind of giving you little bits of just samples of what you could find or what you will find when you decide to attend and join us for that, because that is what it's all about. And, we're excited about it. And that's why we do this space. So with that, I want to thank everyone for joining. Thank you, Yomi. Shout out to you. Hopefully next week you can join us. And Rochelle, you have a wonderful evening.
You do the same, Scott. Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Good night.